Hi everyone, Nigel Saunders here. Today I'm going to be working on my water jasmine for the second time. In the last video I pruned up the trees, I repotted them, and today I'm going to do some more kind of major work to them. And I'll show you why. Here is a look at the trees. So they recovered really nicely from the last work I did to them. They're growing nice and healthy. I had some branches out front that I had the heater near them, and I didn't expect the heater to come on, and it came on and it kind of burnt some of the branches out front, but that's okay. So the major problem with this tree, they're not, for the height of it, the trunk isn't all that thick on it. I think the tree's too tall. And if you look at the trunk here, it comes up and then it divides into two. I have the tall one up the back and one coming out the front. And I like the one coming out the front. It has a lot of natural kind of movement in it. The one out the back is kind of beanpole straight. And I have a nasty wound on top here where the trunk was just chopped off. And I don't think that'll ever heal very nicely. So I'm thinking of taking off that taller trunk and developing this part as the leader of the tree, or the top of the tree. It's a pretty drastic change. I even thought about reducing this, maybe cutting it in half, but I still think I'd be left with this awkward space between the branches with that big cut there. So that's one thing I'm thinking of. The tree out the back, it has a fairly big cut here, but this one will heal. It's on the trunk line and it'll grow. And this one isn't all that upright, so I'm going to encourage it to grow, if I get rid of this branch, to grow kind of more beside the main tree. The branches on it are quite nice, and it's, growing really well. There's a lot of back budding on the trees, which is good. This branch off to the side is also a bit of a problem. You can see it comes up and then it was kind of bent. So it has this kind of, it's not quite a fishing pole branch, but it's kind of close to that. It doesn't have natural kind of straight movement that's smoothed out. So it kind of bugs me. So that branch is also maybe a problem, getting it to look a little more natural. And then if I develop this as the upright part, I've got a few branches poking straight out the front that I'll have to prune off, and encourage branches on the back here to grow in and kind of fill the canopy out. I don't want the crown of the tree reaching too far forward, so I think I need a lot of growth back here. Yeah, so that's kind of what I'm looking at with the water jasmine. It's pretty major work, but the tree has recovered from repotting. It's in good bonsai soil. I'll keep it warm and in good light, and it should recover and become a better tree in the future. That's my goal anyway. So am I ready to commit to that kind of work? It's pretty major. I don't see a better solution. I just find this very awkward, this Y shape with the flat spot in the middle and the branches spaced out. It just looks like a tree that was chopped off and two new branches grew, and yeah, it doesn't look very natural. So that's what I'm thinking. I even thought about, if I cut off the front branch, I could develop this one, but the trunk is pretty straight and this is really straight, and I just end up with a very kind of boring looking tree, I think, and not very natural. So I think that's the plan. Wow, it's quite a plan. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start by removing this top here, and I will try and grow it as a cutting. I know I could air layer it, but I'm going to try growing it as a cutting. I'll put it in good bonsai soil, bury it pretty deep in the soil, keep it in the greenhouse here, and it should root and survive. We will see. Okay, so here I go. big changes coming to this kind of twin trunk or two tree planting. I'm going to begin with the removal of this vertical branch. So I will come in on an angle, and I have to be careful. I've got that back branch that I may want to keep. I'll have to see. So I'm going to come in about here for starters. So here I go, a big cut coming up. Click, 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 it's gone. That's a whole tree I'm taking off. So I'll put that in water right away, and then we'll plant it up at the end of the video. Here is a look at the cut so far. So you can see the old woody part up here, the part I cut off down here. So I can get out the pruners and nibble that away, trying to make a smoother transition. I'm going to come in with my small rounded pruners, and I'll just remove material to give this wound a chance to heal nicely. Maybe I'll need the bigger pruners. I think I've got to take a fair amount off. It'll leave a big scar, but at least the scar will have a chance of healing and looking natural. I think with that flat cut on the top, it never would have looked natural at all. You can see that wood was kind of decaying there. So I'll be sure to seal the cuts with the rubber cement and not allow any water to get into the wound. And it should eventually roll over and heal. All the scars on the trunk where I remove branches, like up front, they're getting callus on them. A callus. So they're starting to heal. Now, let me go down lower here. And luckily this wound will be at the back, so you won't see it too much. Just trying to get down to some better looking wood in that old section where where it was flat cut. Okay, that might be as good as I can get that. It's not too bad. Here's a look at it now. So I'll get out the rubber cement and seal that up. Put a nice coating on. It'll be waterproof. It's flexible so it can heal. Okay, that should do it. Now, I better go out front and see what the tree looks like without that top on it. Here's a look at the tree now. So I think the proportions are better, the thickness of the trunk versus the height. And I have lots of room to grow a branch structure up here. And I think it should look quite natural in the end. So the next step, I want to address this branch coming out the front here and just kind of prune up the future canopy here, or future branch structure in the apex of this front tree. So I'm looking at the front, and I have this branch. It kind of comes from the inside of a curve here anyway. So I'm going to remove that completely, because I have another trunk growing above it. So that's gone, and I'll just clean that little stub up like that. And I will also seal that cut. Like that. And then I've got a branch fanning out here and one kind of going vertical here. I have another branch kind of running parallel to it over this side, so I don't think I need this one. So I'm going to remove it. The tree's going to look a little bare. And then off of this trunk line I have a fine branch here that's dead, so I'll take that out. At least I believe it's dead. Oh, it was partly alive. That was one of the ones I think that got burned. Yeah, I had the heater out of the way so I didn't step on it. And I guess it got cold and the heater turned on automatically and it kind of fried my tree. So that's something you can always watch out for, is you don't leave your heaters pointed at any trees. Here I've got a branch kind of crossing back across the center of the tree. So I'm going to take that one out. I've got a good shoot coming up the back here, which is really good to help fill out the back of this canopy. I think this branch, it's kind of coming from the top of this branch. It's in a good position, but it's just an awkward starting location. I'll leave it on for now. The one shooting up here, you can see it's getting quite long and straight, so I'll prune it back to these leaves like that. I'll tip prune this one going back to here. I'll also tip prune this one just so I don't get long straight sections to the branch. This one, it's growing kind of back, it doesn't flow outwards, so I'm going to take it off, or at least cut it back. I'll cut it back to there. Hey, Kitty's in here again. Hey, you're not allowed in here. Kitty, you're very, very persistent. You have to get out. Out you go. Out, 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 out. Ah, that cat. He never stops trying. So now, I've got to get rid of this branch. It'll never... It's growing, if you look, it's growing back in towards the tree. It looked good in that position, but I'll have to grow another branch in that location. There's a little shoot here that can grow out. There's one coming out the front, but I think that's okay. These ones look fine. So I think that's it for the top of the tree. Now I've got to look at this branch. That was the one that I said kind of looks like, I think it was pulled down with wire or something, and it's got this kind of unnatural curve to it. It's not the worst in the world. It is quite long. I could prune it off, you know, keeping this upward part and pruning it off here. I think that would be a good move. Okay, I'm going to do that. I'll keep the natural part of it and prune away all of this. How am I going to get in here like this? Somehow. Okay, here it goes. Big cut coming up. That is gone. I'm just going to take that back a little further. And I'll also seal that up. That keeps kind of the primary branch structure quite compact. Very kind of stumpy looking, but you know, these graceful branches will grow in and ramify over the years. So that is quite a change to the main tree. It's really compact now, but I like it much better. Everything on it is quite natural looking now. So I think, yeah, it's a good basic structure to develop into the future. So next I've got to deal with this back part of the tree. So I mentioned it was kind of getting a little far out of being vertical. I have nothing kind of major growing upwards. The thickest part is growing out the back here. So I think I could take that thick part off. I think that's the solution to that problem. So I'll just cut the branches off first so I can get in there. And should I keep this one out the back? No. It's kind of awkward looking. Okay. And then I'll take that branch back. And how far? All the way. All the way. It's just too thick. Yeah, so that kind of makes, this branch here more of the leader of the tree. Maybe this one here too. So next I've got to prune up those branches. Okay, so this one I'll prune to a downwards facing leaf here. This one to here. This vertical one, I do want it to thicken, but I don't want this big, long, thick, straight section, so it's something I'll have to develop over the years. So I think I'm going to prune it off to here. And then these branches growing out the back, they're getting pretty long. I've got some buds here, I've got a branch here. Let me just try clipping it off here for starters. And then this tall one, I'll prune it back quite hard. Let's have a look at that now. Yeah, it's looking better. If you imagine this filled in with the canopy, it kind of reaches out around the canopy. I'm going to take this one back one more internode. This one, that could be an upright leader. This one's growing on the top of this branch. I'll take that off. I've got branches crisscrossing back here. This branch and this branch. It kind of creates this diamond shape. So I don't want that. I'm going to prune this one off to here. And this one, it's growing on the top. I don't think I want it. Got this branch out the back, so I can come off like that. So that's got all the major pruning done. The only other thing I want to address is all these new branches growing up on the trunk line. So I don't mind them. I can develop them into little scale miniature branches. So I just have to look at them to make sure they're in a good position. So let's do that now. So this is nice. It's growing outwards. This one's not bad either. It wouldn't hurt to have a branch kind of in front of the back trunk. The one down low is even okay. It's a little low. Maybe that one's too low, so I'll take it off. And I also have a low one coming off this other tree I'm going to take off. I think that's it. Oh, wait. Off of this tree I have two opposite branches here. I definitely will keep the other one and prune that one away. At the base here I have a shoot growing between these two trunks. I'll take that out. I think I rubber cemented it in place. There. Yeah, so I think that's it. I have an old cut here, which I don't think I sealed. I better just put a little glue on there to stop it rotting. Preserve that wood a bit until it heals. And I think that's it. I think that's got the tree pruned up, kind of restyled in a dramatic way but I think it's, you know, set it up for the future development of the tree to make it something very nice. There's an old scaled insect at the tip of that leaf. I don't think I need to respray it. I think it was dead. I haven't seen any other insects, have I? No, that was a dried up one too. Oh, there's a little dead branch in here. I can prune away. Let's see where it is. Right here. There. There's also a little shoot growing between these two trees. Get rid of that too. Okay, let's step back and have a look at the trees and rotate them around, and that will complete the work on the water jasmine for this round 2. Here is what I have taken off the tree today over in this pile. Plus I have that big upper cutting that's in water that's not in this pile. So yeah, I did some pretty major work to this tree today. I'll do the rotation of the water jasmine now. And before I go today, I'm going to plant that cutting and maybe some of these smaller cuttings. And I have some updates to the community orchard, the greenhouse they're building, and to the spiral orchard. Here's a look at the water jasmine now. So here's the front of the planting. Oh, I sure changed today. Coming around to the right-hand side. That transition's a lot nicer. Coming around to the back. The left-hand side. And back to the front. And the front may be tweaked a little bit in future, you know, but I think that's pretty close. I've got a pot prepared to plant the water jasmine cuttings. So this largest cutting, if you look at the wound on the bottom, it's on an angle. It's got some dead wood here. I'm going to make a fresh cut on the bottom. If you make an angle cut, there's more surface area, which may increase your chances of rooting, but I'm going to make a flat cut. So here I go. Nice clean flat cut. And I'll strip off all these lower leaves and plant that one. Actually, I'm going to prune back some of these branches too, just to make less of a load on the cutting. It's a little bushy looking. If I plant it like this, the tips will probably wither away. So I'll just kind of prune it up a bit. Even that's still a lot of foliage on it. But are there any obvious branches I can remove? This one, it's opposite. I think this one's too low down. I think I'll take this one off too. It's kind of on the underside of this curve. That one off. I think that's good. I think that's ready to be planted. So I'll put it right here. I'm going to bury it quite deep. That'll give it a chance to root from all the different places on the trunk line. And then I have a few more cuttings I picked out, some of the better branches I took off, and I'll just try those. If the big cutting doesn't work, maybe the smaller ones will. I'll just kind of prune these ones up a bit too. Yeah, you never know. Sometimes cuttings take really nicely, and other times you don't have any luck with them. I did have some water jasmine cuttings before that I placed in water, and they just kind of rotted away. And that may be because I just kind of forgot about them. Here's a really skinny cutting I can try planting. Like that. And one more. Put that in right here. Okay, so I'll give all these cuttings a water, and I'll put them on the floor of the greenhouse where it's kind of cool and humid and less intense sunlight. So here I go with the watering. All right. And I'll try and keep, the leaves kind of wet for the first few days. I'll just, whenever I'm in the greenhouse, I'll give it a water to give them a good chance of recovering and growing roots. Okay, that should do it. I'll show you an update to my Vietnamese bluebell tree. I did a similar thing to this tree, a major restyling, pruning off big thick branches. And you can see it's recovering now. There's all kinds of new shoots growing in all over the place. The branch I left is growing really nicely. There's all kinds of new shoots growing from the trunk now. And I think in the end, I'll end up with a much better looking tree because of those big cuts. It's time now for today's update. Today's update is out here at the community gardens. So greenhouse number 1, the structure is all up. It's a big greenhouse. That must have been a lot of work. So they're just putting up the end wall now. They've got to put up the front wall. The second greenhouse, which will be identical, is going right here where this plastic is laid down. So there'll be 2 giant greenhouses out here. The orchard is looking really good this time of year, so let's head out there and check out the trees. Here is a look at the spiral orchard. So last Thursday I finished pruning up the last of the fruit trees along the fence line there. So they're all pruned up, ready for winter. The only ones I didn't prune were the ones that were really damaged by rabbits, so I just kind of left them grow. So let's check out some of the fruit. Here is a look at the quince tree. And it got a lot of fruit this year. You can see it here. So it's not quite ripe yet, but sure is a lot of fruit on the tree. Just amazing. The Asian pear tree here also got a lot of fruit this year. A lot of it's been eaten already, but you can see there's still some pears on it. And they are really good. I know why they've been eaten, because they're so good. Yeah. It got a lot of fruit. So this year I didn't go too crazy with the pruning. I'm doing it in cycles. So the first year, say year 1, I give it a real solid structural pruning, not worrying about fruit production at all. And then the next year I prune lightly and you get a lot of fruit. It really explodes. And then the third year, I'll also prune it fairly lightly for even more fruit production. And then after the third year, it'll get a bit out of control and out of shape. So I'll go back to stage 1, pruning it back purely for structure once again. And the goal is to keep the trees small so you can pick them, all the fruit by hand. And so far it's working. That year 1 where I have to do the structural prune and you have to take a lot off the top of the tree. They tend to grow, twice as high as they are now. And yeah, so this is year 2 now. So I gave them a fairly light pruning. So next year they should, all produce a lot of fruit. This year would have been a better year for fruit production, except all that rabbit damage. It really weakened the trees. Like a lot of them lost 50% of the live vein going up the trunk. They got chewed at the base and up higher. So it really weakened a lot of the trees, and we didn't get a lot of fruit this year because of that. So this year we're going to protect them more. We're going to use chicken wire going up the trees, try and get them protected from those pesky rabbits. And last winter was an unusual winter. We got almost no thaws, so the snow just kept building up
and it got really high. It went up to the lowest branches on the trees so the rabbits could get above the protection and chew the trunks and the lower branches. And they did that. They really attacked a lot of trees. But all the trees survived, just barely, but they all survived. The worst one, I'll show you it over here. This apple tree, it got ringed from the base of the trunk here all the way up to here. So the whole top of it died off, but then it got branches growing off the lower part of the trunk, which are these branches. So it's a reset for the tree, generating a new upper structure, but it's alive and doing well. Here's a mulberry tree, and this got a lot of fruit this year. And they're fast-growing trees. When I did the basic reset, I took 2/3 of the height off the tree. It was like way, way up there. It was really tall. So because they grow so rapidly, the trunk is getting quite thick on it. I don't know if you can see it in there. There it is. Yeah, I can't put my hand around it anymore. Looks really healthy, and it's 2 size. I'm sure next spring it'll double in height, but it should get a lot of fruit. Here's another apple tree that got totally decimated. This was the original top of the tree, and it got chewed from the ground up, and it's also sprouted from the lower part of the trunk. So again, it'll be like starting over with the tree, but not quite starting over because it has a strong root system, so I think it'll develop fairly quickly. On this tree, it had protection, and then you never know who comes out here in the orchard. Someone removed the spiral wrap off it. So at the end of winter, when the snow melted, this one had no spiral wrap on it, and it got chewed because of it. Any community gardens, you're at the mercy and goodwill of the people who visit the garden and the surrounding neighbors. And generally it's been pretty good. I can't complain. There has been some vandalism, but it's been pretty good. I know some cities, they plant, community orchards like this, and people come in with loppers and cut all the trees down. That happened in Guelph the one year. They just cut them all down for no reason. And it was it was devastating for the volunteers who put all that work into planting them and developing them. But, this spiral orchard is looking really good, I think. As long as we can protect the trees from rabbits over winter, it'll do really well next year. I think we'll get lots and lots of fruit. So, yeah, I'll keep you updated into the future on the fruit production for next year. And the sun is setting on another beautiful day here. There's the greenhouse down there. Yeah, exciting times out here at the community gardens. Our pile of wood chips is slowly going down. So my wife and Shelley have been busy weeding the spiral where all the understory plants are. Currants, raspberries, blackberries, flowering species, pollinators. Yeah, so all around the spiral between the trees is, berry bushes, and they all need weeding and mulching. We only mulch along the spiral, we don't do the grassy areas. You can see the ring of wood chips around all the trees. Yeah, sure looks good. Everyone's doing a fantastic job running this orchard. The city mows the lawn out here, and they've done a really good job this year. Kept it really nice. The trees over here in the First Nations garden, the cedars, are getting a little taller each year. They had pretty good growth this year. Yeah, looking quite nice. I was taking a walk through the forest, And I took a path I haven't taken before. And I found, I think, the biggest tree in the forest. It's really big. So here it is. It's got quite a root base on it. Great big root that comes out this side here. Yeah, a gnarly tree. I believe it's a poplar tree. Very fast growing tree. It's very, very tall. Goes all the way up. Yeah, quite a specimen. Very, very rough bark on it. So very inspiring. I'm growing a few poplars at home. Man, if they ever got bark like this, it'd be fantastic. Yeah, you never know what you find in this forest. It's a wonderful place to take a walk. It's just absolutely, it's a narrow forest. It's just a strip that goes along between, I don't know, 2 or 3 blocks, but it's fantastic. Here's an overall look at the forest. And here is that tall poplar. So there it is. You can see it sticking above everything else in the forest. Yeah, so it's just a narrow strip that runs down here. You can see all the dead ash trees here. But it's filling out with other species now, which is good.
I did some pretty major changes to my water jasmine today, but I like the tree much better. If I had left it the way it was, it would have always bothered me 5-10 years into the future. So I've kind of corrected everything that kind of really bothered me, that didn't look natural, wasn't in the right place, and I think now I have a basic structure to develop a really good looking tree from this basic skeleton. So yeah, it was hard to do. It's hard pruning off big kind of mature branches, but yeah, if you don't do it, then you don't get a nice looking bonsai in the end. So yeah, so I'm very happy with the progress of this water jasmine. So the next step is just to keep it out here in the greenhouse, keep it warm and in good sunlight, and it should recover and grow quite nicely. So that is all for today. I'm Nigel Saunders. Thanks for joining me in the Bonsai Zone.